Hi there, I'm Jamie Taylor. Welcome to Your Health Matters, brought to you by Kingman Regional Medical Center, your community-owned hospital. This program focuses on health issues relevant to you and your family, as well as programs and services provided by KRMC. I've got a great guest on my show today, so stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Welcome back to Your Health Matters. My guest today is Chris Brady. He's the PR assistant here at KRMC. Thanks for being on my show, Chris.
Thank you, Jamie.
We've got all kinds of stuff to talk about today. We've got lots of events coming up at the hospital that you're involved in. But first, let's talk a little bit about Chris. I mean, I kind of know special because Chris works for me. But so what brought you to Kingman?
Well, I'm an Indiana native. I grew up in Indiana. Then we moved over to Ohio. I lived there for about 20 years. And when I got married, my wife, after about 15 years, she's like, we've lived close to your parents for 15 years. Now it's time to live close to my parents for the remainder of, in terms of their lives, because they're a little bit older than my parents. So we looked at venture out here to Kingman.
So do they live in Kingman, your in-laws?
Yep, well, my mother-in-law does. And I have 2 brother-in-laws here and 1 sister-in-law.
Oh, very good. So you're a runner. I am. And have you been running like your entire life?
I've been running since junior high.
Well, so that's pretty close to your entire life. So, and you do all kinds of distances, or do you specialize in one? I specialize more in shorter distances, 5Ks. As I get older, though, I'm moving more towards the marathons and farther. Last year, I ventured a little bit farther than the marathon, did a 50-miler, so that was an experience in itself. Yeah, it was fun, though. It was in Montana, so it was beautiful. Now, see, that you say as you get older, and I would think the normal person would say, as I get older, I shorten my distance. You're lengthening your distance. my thought process has changed on running, because when I was younger, it was strictly on racing. You know, getting the races to win, and I still try to do that. But now it's the joy of being able to still be able to run, to be out there in the country or here in the desert or in the mountains and so forth, and just really being able to enjoy the gift that I was given to be able to do it. Right. So it's the experience more than not necessarily winning, although you, like you said, you still like to win. It is, yeah, it is. So the longer distances, you just have a longer experience. Is that what you're saying? It is, and not quite as fast. Yeah. It's an all-day event now. So we have a big event coming up for KRMC. That's our 9th annual. I think that's right, isn't it? Right. The 9th one, Race for Hospice. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about what's the date? The Race for Hospice this year will be May 12th. Okay. Starts down at the Powerhouse Visitor Center. Okay. Like I said, it's the 9th annual. And did you start the first annual one? Because I did. There was a race before that, like in the desert. Right. But I didn't know if you were the founder of the first one. Yes, it used to be the Damn Desert Trail Run, they called it. And they actually had runners get lost out on the desert floor a couple of times. I've heard they had blizzards. They had a blizzard one year. So pretty much the foundation board went, you know, this isn't such a good idea. And they weren't making very much money on it either. And it is supposed to be a fundraiser for hospice. So my idea had been that if we brought it into town, that where people would see it, number one, and hopefully we could keep people on track and they wouldn't get lost and too twisted around. So hence and then also I built it around the Route 66 theme too, because that of course is something that Kingman's famous for, and figured if we could build that into the run, that it would also help maybe bring runners from other places. So that's kind of how I pick that. And you know, you mentioned that we actually, for the race, the last 2 years that I've been involved in it, runners come from Phoenix area, Las Vegas area, so it is growing. There's actually 2 main events. We have the 5K run, which goes up El Travador Hill and a little bit past the top and turns around. And then the 10K goes all the way up to Wallapai Mountain Road, turns right, goes up to, I believe it's Copper Ridge Apartments, and then comes back. And then we have a fitness walk. We have walkers involved. And then we have a 1 kilometer kids run, which goes to the, I think it's like an old grain tower or water tower. Water tower there, I think, is the train on there. Yeah. So there's something for all ages in the event itself. And then it ends with a award ceremony over at Locomotive Park. We have an award ceremony. Yep. Years past, you've gotten those really neat medallions, which have the Route 66 symbol on there, and then we have some trophies for the overalls as well. Good. Well, and participants. Now, let's see. The entry fee
Yeah, the entry fee for, there's a pre-registered part, so it's $25 pre-registered before May 4th. And then after that, it's $30. And then for kids 12 and under, it's $15. And we keep that all the way through.
Okay. And then anyone who raises money, because of course this is a fundraiser for hospice, so if they raise $100 or more in sponsorships, there's no, the entry fee is waived. And then they get in for drawings too. We have some really great door prizes for all of those. They all get a raffle ticket. And
it's interesting because the bar is raised pretty high on that. Last year, I believe Mary Chan raised over $4,000.
I know, all by herself.
Has done great over the years for doing that. We always look forward to see how much she raises for the event.
Yeah, she's a very special lady, and of course she does that in memory and honor of her husband Tommy, who was a hospice patient, and we actually have a room in the Joan and Diana Hospice Home named for him because of all of the donations that she raised through the years walking. And of course now we have a new walk for hospice as well in October, so if someone doesn't want to do the run in May or the walk in May, they can wait and do it in October.
Yeah, we kind of gauge that one around the hospice home, so it starts and finishes there. So people can see the facility of the hospice home. They can tour.
It's beautiful.
And we kind of made that one around a little bit of a Halloween theme too, so kids can dress up, but it's in the morning, and they do a 3-mile walk, and there's tables along the route where they receive goodies, candy and treats or and toys water, and so forth. Yep. So it's fun.
So kind of do trick-or-treating.
Yep, it is, a giant trick-or-treat.
So that's another event too, that or they can do both, obviously, because it's the same opportunity for getting sponsors if they want. They can raise money for that. So that's good, and both of those, of course, go to a good cause, raising money for the Joan and Diana Hospice Home. Initially, when the first Route 66 race for hospice we did was we were raising money to build the hospice home. So now, after 5 years of doing all this, 6 years, it's built, and now we're continuing to fundraise to help provide those services for people who don't have insurance and that. And hospice is one of those very special programs that it's very important and it meets family needs, but a lot of times it's not always covered all by insurance, and a lot of times people don't have the money to be able to do that, so the foundation's kind of stepping in to help.
It's interesting, Jamie, in terms of what I see. I've run in a lot of big communities where there's a lot of races and runners just run, but here in Kingman, with the size of the community, people really come together. You know, when that was being built, people came together to build that. And now, lots of times runners will run events, and I'm guilty of this. Runners run events and don't think about where the money goes to, but just run the event to run. And here, the walkers generate so much money, because they're the main influence in terms of the money generated for this race. So much for the ongoing support of the hospice home that it just, I mean, it pulls at your heart, because it's really, really great for them to do that and help support that.
Yeah, and we've got great sponsors that have helped with it as well. So, and one of the things we have new this year is an arch that's going to be our start-finish line.
We've had the infamous balloon arch we've had, which you know, every night before the race, we're there with the helium tank blowing it up. But this year we'll have first is an inflatable arch. With a great donation there for that as well. So it'll be really good to see how that does and what the participants are expecting then.
Yeah, and we'll hope we don't have a real windy day, that it doesn't become a sail, but I think we'll be able to anchor it down okay. So, so that'll be a fun addition to the event this year. People that are interested or they have more questions, they could call you, right?
They've got a couple options there in terms of registering too. The registration form is on active.com.
So that's ACTIVE.com.
And they would just type in Kingman, Arizona, and it would bring up events listed in Kingman too. Some of the other running events, they can register there. They can also come into the Wellness Center. We have actually placed the entry forms throughout.
That's right, I think I've got one. Oh, here we go. I want those entry forms,
Big Five has them.
The Dan Bar.
Dan Bar has them as well, and a few of the shops downtown have them too. They can also get on our website, the azkrmc.com website, and pull up events, and then there's actually a page for Route 66 run where they can download the entry form.
PDF of
it. They can also download last year's results, and they can also look at the photo gallery from last year's race too. And they can contact me as well at my phone number, which is on there.
I was going to say, your phone number's on here, right?
Yep.
And what is it? Oh, here it is, 263-4648.
Right.
I only have to push my button on my phone, so I never remember your number.
Well, we've done something a little different. As you look at the info, we actually have people from the past races. We put them into
That is
fun
fun.
as well.
You got some fun pictures on there. Oh, there's Rachel, Brian.
Yep.
Very good. So the 1K junior run starts at 7:15.
Right.
Then the 10K's at 7:30, and the 5K at 7:40, and the walk at 7:45.
Yep.
So that's going to be fun and easy. And like I said, they can call you at 263-4648 if they have questions, or go to active.com. And it's not too late for sponsors too, right? If someone's
It is not. We would
watching
take
the program.
sponsorship all the way
Okay.
up to, even the day of the event, if someone wanted to come down, we would
Okay,
never
well,
turn
yeah,
anyone
we'd never
away
turn away money, right?
for the race or any event that we do,
Right.
especially again for hospice.
Sure.
And I know all of our sponsors, hospice is dear to their heart too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it definitely touches people's hearts, no doubt about it. The major sponsors, of course, those that do the major donations, also will get their logos on the T-shirts.
They will.
Right?
We have a special shirt this year. It's neon green.
Oh, that's
Neon
right.
color. Yep.
Yeah, and then we'll have the purple
ink
lettering on it, so they'll be able to see those runners coming.
Yep.
Very good.
It's fun.
Okay, super. So volunteers also, if the people just aren't into walking or
They
running,
can.
we could always use more help at the day of the event.
Yep, we get the volunteers through the hospital,
Okay.
but anyone that would love to volunteer, all they have to do is the same thing, is just send me an email
Okay.
or call me.
Okay.
And we will put them to work somewhere. A water stop, registering people. There's two folds to the volunteer. One's the race day, and then we have the early packet pickup the night before at the
that's
dam
right,
bar
Friday night at the
from
dam bar.
5 to
Okay.
9. And if they do come to the dam bar offers actually a 20% discount on their food.
Oh,
then,
that's
too.
right. Okay,
So they
very
can-
good. That's a good deal too. We just meet outside there on the outside porch,
Right.
do the
And
registration.
that's great.
so-
It kind of helps with logistics. That way, race morning, we don't have everyone coming at us.
Right.
Most people have their number. They can pin their number on their front, and they don't have to worry about standing in line race morning. They can just come to the starting
Right,
line.
and get ready to go and head out. So that's a good thing. And I know I always do try to encourage people to come the night before. And
Yep.
you said you get the good food at the dam bar and good social time too.
It's
You
a
can
fun time.
check out the other runners,
Yep,
see what your
that's right.
competition is.
Yeah. And one thing everyone always talks about El Travador Hill going up it.
Yes.
But I always let them know you get to come back down
There
to
you
the finish,
go.
so it's fun.
Yes, you've got a fast finish coming down the end,
Yep.
right? I know that is a climb. I've driven it many times. No.
I've trained on it. I've run the race once.
Okay.
I ran the 5K 3 years ago when I was first here.
Right,
'Cause
right.
I've been here at Kingman KRMC 2 years.
Wow,
And
yeah.
I ran it the first year when I just came on board.
Uh-huh.
And then it gets a little hectic when
When
you're
you-
running a race. You're worried about, is everything all right at the finish line and
Right.
so forth. So I've opted out to not to race in them now. But
Okay.
it's fun to see people come in. From the first person to the last person.
Right.
They're all important because, again, it doesn't matter who comes over the finish line first or second or third, as long as you make it and we can help them get
Right.
through.
Excellent. Well, I know we've got some other events to talk about, so we'll be back right after these messages. So stay tuned. Join us. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Your Health Matters. My guest today is Chris Brady, PR Assistant at KRMC. Thanks again for being on the show,
you,
Chris. So we've been talking about the Race for Hospice. Then that's May 12th for anyone that just joined us. And they can sign up at www.active.com. So that's the word active, ACTIVE.com. Or go to our website, or they can call you.
Sure can.
Again, I always forget your number, 263-4648. Okay, one of these days I'll remember that. And we're looking for runners, walkers, volunteers.
They can,
The whole crew.
no matter how fast you are, it doesn't matter,
Okay.
anyone. Yep.
Right, and it is a challenge. That course is not for the, I'd say, weak at heart.
It's not. I mean, that hill you go up there, you kind of get into that little vortex between the mountain there when you get up
Yeah.
El Travador. But everyone seems to take the challenge in heart every year to
Right,
come
I
back.
know.
So
Yeah, every year it gets a little bigger. That's actually kind of why we've started doing that Spirit of Hospice walk in the fall too,
Different.
because this is becoming more of a true race.
Right.
And we can still have the walkers, but now we wanted to have the walkers have their own special event as well.
And also so they could actually see the Joan and
Right,
Diana
yeah.
Hospice Home too.
Yeah. So the Race for Hospice, May 12th, the 7 o'clock is when they should be there.
Yeah, because the first one's at 7:15, the kids event.
Yeah, and they can sign up or come pick up their packets the night before at the dam bar.
Correct.
And then the race starts and ends at the Powerhouse Visitor Center. They go up the hill and around the corner and back down as they do the 10K. So then we also have another event, and I know you're not as involved in that, but it's still the Cam Bam is another KRMC Foundation event that's coming up on July 7th.
Right.
Now, CAM stands for Complementary Alternative Medicine.
Right.
And the BAM, I think, is just like a BAM trying to...
Right. That was Dr. Yamaguchi came up with that part.
That was his idea. So it's an obstacle course, kind of based on what?
It's actually a growing trend now. You'll see it a lot, like the Tough Mudder. This one involves mud, so a little different. And you go through different obstacles. The last one is usually a mud pit filled with water and mud to your finish line. But again, they're growing throughout the country. And you'll start off, it's roughly a little over 3 miles, like a 5K.
Okay.
And I don't want to give away the obstacles. I know a few of them, has to deal with tires and so forth.
You have to climb a wall or
something.
Climb
a wall. And sometimes if you go around or you can't make the obstacle, then there's time added on to your time.
Okay.
Or sometimes you have to pay to get over your obstacles. So again, I don't know what they're going to decide there with the Cam Bam. But it should be fun.
I think it will be a fun event. It's July 7th, so it's a little warm, but it's early in the morning that it starts. So
yeah, it's over at the college.
At the MCC campus, right?
We might have a rattlesnake pit. Have to jump over that. There you go. Right.
There you go. That would be a definite obstacle.
But some of them have fire you have to jump over.
Really?
So they haven't told us what their obstacles are yet, which should be fun.
Yeah, that'll be quite the challenge. Now, and I know they're going to have a little beer garden and hamburgers and hot dogs afterwards as well for both the observers.
Right?
Yeah, Kiwanis is going to do the hamburgers and hot dogs. I'm not sure who's doing the beer. I don't think Kiwanis is doing that. But,
I don't know.
But it's one of those things, and I think the entry fee is $30 to sign up initially.
Right. It's a little different here. Entry fee, you can do individual, or you can also do a team.
Oh, okay.
So a team, I think it was either a team of 2 or a team of 4.
Okay.
So to get entry forms, I believe they have some up at the front desk at the Wellness Center also, and then through some of the practices.
Right, they're putting them around town. I think they have a Facebook page as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I think Anna put together a Facebook page on it, so people can check that out. And like you said, it's kind of becoming the rage. I mean, I remember when I lived in San Diego, and they first did one on Camp Pendleton.
That's the founder one. That's
was
the
that
first
the original? One. Oh. I remember, watching it on the news going, those guys are crazy.
Camp Pendleton, the registration is New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, if you're not registered within a couple hours, you don't get in.
Really? That's become that popular? Because I know they go under barbed wire and, like you said, through fire and mud. And
some even have electricity now. You have to run wires after the water. So it's a test of...
That sounds almost masochistic.
Craziness and endurance, I guess.
But I think this will be a fun event. Like you said, there's some challenges already starting.
Right.
All of the different fitness centers in town are talking about they're going to put teams together.
Yep.
So, and they're going to have a little challenge between them, see which one's going to have the best time.
And I haven't decided if I'm going to do it yet. I'm trying to decide.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they could use your speed somewhere.
Yeah,
just make sure it's for a KRMC team.
No, that's right. I would be,
So that'll be fun. And then, well, because you're a runner, you know so many of the events going on around town. What other?
Yeah, a couple of the other events. Kids Little Smiles also has the Crazy 8.
It's, that's right.
I believe it's in its about 5th year. Started downtown.
Is that
I believe it's the last Saturday in April.
Yeah. Okay.
They can go to Kids Little Smiles and find out about that.
Okay.
But it runs back and down through Slaughterhouse Canyon.
Kind of behind the on Wallapai Mountain Road, behind their practice.
They have a kids run and an adult run. 8Ks, just a little shy of 5 miles.
Okay.
And then we started something a few years back, which is for the Turkey Trot, which is Thanksgiving morning.
Okay.
That runs the actual same course as the Race for Hospice, the 5K.
Okay.
So people kind of match their times in the spring versus the fall.
Oh, that's good.
And the proceeds.
This is before Turkey, right?
Before Turkey. So
you can run, and then that way you can
there
eat
was
more.
There was a slogan there. You can run and you can feed your face. So you run a race and you go and feed your face in terms of turkey.
It wouldn't be good to run after you ate, because then you'd probably be sick.
Right. The proceeds from that go to the Cornerstone Mission.
Oh, very good.
And then there's a new event we've kind of we've been talking about is for Code 3.
Oh.
They're going to do a Christmas run too.
Oh, what fun.
So kind of something a little more unique to have.
Yeah, maybe have instead of T-shirts to get Santa hats or something.
Something like that, but the awards are going to be Christmas bulbs.
Oh, that's a
Christmas
good,
bulbs. There's a lady in Chandler that hand paints them.
Oh, my.
And so the awards will be those.
Nice.
And we're thinking about giving like a finisher's medallion, but give a finisher's commemorative Christmas bulb too.
Oh, very nice. That's a good, that's a good little touch.
And the goal here is to be able to raise money to purchase maybe some bicycles for some of the kids in town.
For the Code 3 program. That's awesome. That's great, because that's, of course, we talk about all the time, the kids are our future.
They are, especially here in Kingman. I've been part of the one event they do for Code 3, and you know, just to be there. I've been at Kmart where you get to walk around and shop for the kids. That was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had.
That's awesome. Yeah, it does. It touches your heart. And I always, and I tell the kids all the time, I said, you know why I care so much about you? And they're like, no, why? And I said, because I want you to grow up and get a good job so you can support me when I get old.
That's good, right. They are our future, no doubt.
They are, absolutely. So it's great. And it's good, like you said, to see these kids that were able to touch their lives and maybe help turn them a better direction.
And I think down the road, they'll want to give back to the community as well.
Yeah, we've already had that. I think it was just this past Christmas. There was a young gal who had been a Code 3 recipient when she was like, 9, 10, and then now she's in Key Club in the high school, and she came and shopped and was a volunteer. And
that is good.
Yeah, so those are the kind of things that touch your heart and make it all worthwhile.
It is. Oh, I forgot one other event.
Oh.
The United Way has their quail run too.
Oh, now when's that? Oh, that's in the fall also?
That's in the fall also. Theirs is very similar to the Kids Little Smiles course, except it's 5K. They go right down the hill, Slaughterhouse Canyon, and come right back up. So they make sure they get the hill in. But that's been a fun event too. We kind of use it around the quail theme because we got all the little quails running around here.
Quails all over. Very good. Well, and then Race to Remember. That's another one.
Right.
The Lincoln Felder
Center. That's growing too. It's the first Saturday in October, and that starts over at the Lincoln Felder Center, and it as well as an 8K, and it runs around by the golf course.
Okay, so there's actually quite. I mean, when I started the Race for Hospice 9 years ago, that was the only run in Kingman, and then we started doing the Firecracker Run for a while here at the Wellness Center. That one kind of went away, so maybe the Cam Bam will take its place.
That will. They were talking about doing another July 4th, but again, not to take away from the Cam Bam.
Yeah.
And I think that the Cam Bam is going to be unique in itself. That it's going to have you're going to have a lot of different participants that wouldn't necessarily do our run, but want to do something a little more challenging.
Right. Yeah.
Because you may be able to do the distance, but the obstacles are going to be a little tougher, so it'll be fun.
Or for the other way around, maybe you can climb a wall, but you're not a good runner kind of thing, So it is kind of one of those things that...
It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it will be. And that's the other good thing, that people will be able to come and watch it. They don't even necessarily have to participate. Maybe the first year they're kind of like, I'm going to go watch this first and
see if they want to do that,
exactly what I want to do. And there was one not too long ago in Phoenix, wasn't there one? That bunch from Kingman went down.
There was a group, it's called the Warrior Dash, again along the same theme, and they do use the bob wire. You crawl underneath there. They use a giant mud pit and fire. You have to jump over fire.
Wow.
But they're growing. There's actually been two. The popularity has grown so big. And then there was the Tough Mudder, which was 10 miles.
Wow.
So that was major obstacles there.
10 miles of obstacles? Mm-hmm. That's a...
You need a pretty big area for that too, but the growth of these is just phenomenal.
I guess they're all over the country. Liking the challenge, doing something different.
Sometimes they'll make incentives, like if you do one here in San Diego and then you do one in Phoenix, you get like a certain medal if you do 3 of them.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that. It'd be fun someday to maybe do a Tri-City challenge or something. Have different, because we've got the Havasu half marathon.
And Laughlin has theirs, and Kingman talked about it. Brian Turney talked about maybe trying to put one together.
Oh, okay, yeah, because there's a lot of runners. I was surprised how many runners there are that live here in Kingman. So there's lots of folks that we can go. So thanks, Chris. I appreciate you being on the show. Remember, check out active.com if you're interested in signing up for any of these events. Join us next week. I'll have another great guest on the show for you.